This game is unreal. I've watched the full 53-minute demo, and after seeing IGN's deep dive into Crimson Desert, here's what I've learned. The game is shaping up to be a brutal, fast-paced mix of combat and exploration. IGN's Matt Purslow recently dove into the gameplay, offering insights into what Crimson Desert is really about beyond its epic boss battles. The protagonist, Kliff, carries a no-nonsense attitude and a Scottish accent, navigating a world that feels heavily inspired by a blend of modern Assassin's Creed, God of War, and Dragon's Dogma. Kliff's story begins with a bloody conflict between his faction, the Greymanes, and the Black Bears. The game's opening gives you just enough to understand his goal: hunt down surviving Greymane allies scattered across the continent of Pywel after the battle, and likely take revenge on Myrdin, the Black Bear chief who seemingly killed him. The demo doesn't explain how Kliff survived a throat-slitting encounter, leaving plenty of mysteries for the full game. Most of the demo takes place in Hernand, a medieval town filled with fantastical races, looking like something straight out of Tolkien. From whistling for your horse to interacting with NPCs and sneaking into hostile regions, the open-world gameplay feels familiar, but polished. One cool twist is the use of disguises. Much like Hitman or Kingdom Come Deliverance, Kliff sneaks into a castle by changing into banquet attire, blending in with the guards. It's a nice break from combat, and hopefully, disguises will allow for more than just infiltration, like unlocking new dialogue or alternative outcomes. Inside the castle, he discovers something a little unexpected: an abyss artifact. This device opens up a pixelated portal, transporting him to a digital-like realm, similar to the Animus from Assassin's Creed. There, he meets an alchemist who hints at a larger, more mythical plot: beings trying to bring everything to nothingness. The writing in these sequences feels a bit clunky, but it does hint at deeper storylines than just revenge. The mythic undertones kick up another notch when Kliff receives a glider-like ability called Crow Wings, which looks and feels straight out of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Returning to Hernand, the demo shifts back to combat, pitting Kliff against a local knight in a duel that kicks off a larger quest. A peacekeeper asks him to hunt down a bandit group using red mist, which leads Kliff to a burning house where he saves a trapped clergyman by throwing vases of water. It's unclear if these side objectives are scattered across the map, like in Red Dead Redemption 2, but it's confirmed that these bandits are tied to the larger storyline. When Kliff tracks down Split Horn, the game ties up the overlapping quests in a satisfying way. The Goblin Guards use red mist, revealing themselves as the same bandits terrorizing Hernand. Split Horn himself serves as the demo's final boss, a fast and aggressive fighter who uses wind blasts from his sword. While the fight is challenging, Split Horn only has one health bar, making the battle less intense than earlier bosses like the Mega Wrestler with stag antlers or the abominable Snowdeer from previous demos. In terms of innovation, Crimson Desert doesn't break much new ground. The gameplay will feel familiar to fans of Assassin's Creed, The Witcher 3, or Zelda. However, it's well executed, with a strong emphasis on combat diversity. The demo leaves a lasting impression with its boss battles and the mythical undercurrent of its world. Pearl Abyss seems to be making a smooth transition from Black Desert Online's MMORPG roots to a more focused single-player experience, but the challenge will be keeping the questing and exploration as varied and creative as the epic fights. If the full game can match the thrill of its combat with equally exciting exploration and storytelling, Crimson Desert could be something special. You know how when you're hyped about a game and it's almost everything you expected, but then there's this one weird choice the devs make that leaves you scratching your head? That's kind of what happened here. Connor McCarr, who got to try out the game at Gamescom, said Crimson Desert looks absolutely stunning. It's like Pearl Abyss, the team behind the game, went all out in making it visually jaw-dropping. And the combat system sounds wild too. Imagine smashing enemies with this combo system where 2-button presses lead to all kinds of cool moves, from huge slashes to wrestling-style takedowns. It's the kind of thing that makes you feel like a total beast when you're fighting humanoid enemies, like bandits. Those fights were so good that they went beyond Makar's expectations. But here's the thing, Makar was puzzled by the way the demo was set up. Most of the time, you're fighting bosses and all those sick moves you just learned, yeah, they don't really work on them. Instead, you're left playing a slow, patient game of waiting for the right moment to land a couple of heavy hits. It's like the game is nudging you to play it in a totally different Souls-like way, which feels at odds with the intense, fast-paced combat it seems to be best at. The environments and visuals? Absolutely top-notch. The way the game handles particle effects, how the world reacts to your actions, like the ground cracking under a powerful slam, is on another level. But Makar left the demo feeling a bit frustrated because it didn't show off the game's best aspects, those thrilling group fights where you're taking on multiple enemies at once. Even though he's a bit annoyed with the demo's setup, Makar is still excited to see more of the game. It's clear there's something special here, especially with its release planned for 2025. Now, he just hopes that the next time he gets his hands on it, it'll better showcase what makes Crimson Desert so potentially great.